This is Vin Scully. You're about to hear the story of a dream come true. The incredible story of the 1981 world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. In years to come, when Dodger fans look back on 1981, they'll remember it as the year they, the 10th player, and their team won it all. Oh, sure, baseball historians will remember the strike, but Dodger fans will fondly recall their world championship season. And a man-child named Fernando, who led team comeback to the title. It all began Thursday, April the 9th, this magical story. The Houston Astros were in town for a rematch of the year-ending series of 1980. Jerry Royce was scheduled to work the opener, but he injured a calf muscle on the eve of the season. Manager Tom Lasorda drafted Fernando, and El Toro flashed a sign of things to come by blanking the Astros on 5 hits. Steve Howe and Bobo Castillo have been throwing back of Valenzuela the last inning or so. The 2-1 pitch to Roberts. Screwball, swung on and missed. 2-2. So Fernando Valenzuela has this crowd just dying to salute him. 2-2. Valenzuela delivers just inside with a fastball. He tried to sneak it in, and the fastball just missed under the hands. So they had him set up. The screwball was away. He came back inside. So with 2 out, a full count, Howe ready to go, and listen to this crowd. Most of the folks on their feet now. Valenzuela delivers. Screwball got him swinging. What a way to start. Fernando Valenzuela in his first big league start pitches a shutout, and a little child shall lead them. With the 10th player roaring its approval, the Dodgers completed their opening sweep of the Astros on Sunday, April the 12th. Newcomer Kenny Landreau supplied the key offensive blow. Here's Ross Porter for the call.
Landreau waiting. Now Rule at the belt. And a pitch to Kenny. A drive to right field and hit deep. Going back is Leonard to the track, to the wall. Home run! That's what I call a pretty good hit and run play. I'll hit it, and when it goes to the seats, you just take your time going around the bases. And Landreau delivers a 2-run homer, his first as a Dodger, and the first home run of the year for Los Angeles. And it's 3-0 Dodgers as Dusty Baker stands in.
The Dodgers were off and running on a 6-game winning streak that put them in first place to stay in the first half. The 5th win in that streak came in Fernando's second start. It was a 7-1 win over the Giants at Candlestick Park. Fernando allowed just 4 hits and struck out 10, but he had his scoreless streak snapped at 32 in 2/3 innings. Here's the way Jerry Doggett described it.
Enos Cabell came into the game tonight hitting .263. The 0-1 pitch on the way. Left to the center field is going to fall for a base hit. Here is Herndon in the score, and that breaks the string. The Giants finally get on the board, and Fernando Valenzuela had a beautiful string, and it finally came to a conclusion.
One night after Jerry Royce made his injury-delayed debut, an impressive one, in a 1-0 loss to the Astros in Houston, Fernando did his number again on the Astros and Don Sutton. Fernando scattered 7 hits, struck out 11. Oh yes, he also drove in the only run of the game with a 5th-inning single to the opposite field. Valenzuela single to center in the 3rd inning. He's 3 for 10 this year. And he takes a pitch up and inside, ball 1, 1-0. No score, 5th inning, great ball game, and the principals go head-to-head right now. Don Sutton pitching to Fernando Valenzuela. The outfield is shallow and way around the left field. The infield is back, but Howe, the 3rd baseman, even with the bag. The 1-0 pitch. Valenzuela hits a line drive, extra base hit. Down the left field line, into the corner to get it is Cruz, and Valenzuela, who was perfectly content to stop at first, goes into second base. Is there anything this kid can't do? So Valenzuela singles to left to score Guerrero. Takes second on the error. And the Dodgers lead 1-0. Rick Monday received a rare start April 25th against San Diego. He waited until the 11th inning to bring the 10th player out of its seats by tripling home Ron Cey to give the Dodgers a 2-1 victory. It was a sign of things to come.
The one-strike pitch to Monday. Fly ball in the left center field. A long run for Rupert Jones. He's on the track. He leaps. The ball's off the wall. Stays halfway to third. He waves home. He will score. Dodgers win. Rick Monday drove one up the alley in left center field. Rupert Jones tried to climb the wall at the 385-foot sign, banged into the barrier, shook himself up. The ball rolled back toward the infield. Gene Richards raced over to try to have a play, but when he bobbled the ball, there was no chance. And Ron Cey scores all the way from the first base bag. And on his first hit of the year, Rick Monday delivers the game-winning RBI double in the 11th inning, and the Dodgers pull it out over the Padres.
The Giants got their second look at Fernando and a close-up of Fernando Mania, April the 27th at Dodger Stadium. Fernando pitched a 7-hit shutout. He had 3 hits himself, including a key RBI single in a 4-run 4th inning. The 10th player loved every minute of it. Valenzuela singled in the 3rd inning, the first Dodger hit. So, of course, now Griffin has been warned. Valenzuela, with 5 hits in his 13 at-bats, 1 for 1, hitting .385. The pitch to him is foul back, 0-1. Oh, Mike Socia at third, Bill Russell at first with 2 out in the 4th. No score. Tom Griffin facing a challenge here. Russell off the bag, Cabell holding. Strike 1 pitch to Fernando. Breaking ball inside. 1-1. Now Fernando back up to the plate. Griffin at the belt, ready, delivers. Valenzuela lines it into right field. Base hit. Dodgers lead 1-0. Too much in any language. Can you imagine? On this night of all nights, he's 2 for 2. He got the first Dodger hit. He just drives in a run, and the Dodgers lead 1-0, and here's Davey Lopes. Griffin ready and delivers, and it's waved out and missed. 0-1. Listen to this crowd just talking to themselves. Oh, what a show. Dodger Stadium, what a great place to be. Fernando Mania moved north of the border in May. In any language, English, Espanol, or Francais, Fernando is very good. Muy bien, très bien. Les Expos snapped Fernando's scoreless streak at 36 innings. But Fernando's teammates gave him his 6th win with a 5-run 10th inning, launched by Reggie Smith's pinch RBI single. The Big Apple was next on Fernando's dance card. His presence made as much noise at Shea Stadium as the jets at nearby LaGuardia Airport. The result? Another win. Another shutout. Fernando's fifth in 7 games. And 11 more strikeouts for El Toro.
Valenzuela is within 1 out now of his 5th shutout of the year. Wow. Fernando working on Mazzilli, who of course is a home run threat. Here's the pitch on the way. Fastball low, ball 3. So after 5 walks in the game, he had 4 through the first 3 innings, gave up 1 in the 7th. Now he's gone to 3-1 to Mazzilli. And of course he represents that tying run again, as the Mets still alive. And Fernando trying to get him. 3-0 pitch to Mazzilli. Popped up on the first base side foul. Garvey has a play. He's there. He's got it, and he did it again. He did it again. Fernando Valenzuela on a 3-0 count. Mazzilli fouls out to first, and the Dodgers are all over him out there on the mound. 5 shutouts for Valenzuela. In the 9th for the Mets, they go 1, 2, 3, and he has done it again. So Valenzuela wins his 7th in a row, and I'm telling you one thing, this is really some kind of a story. He puts the Big Apple on its ear, and they're still doing high fives out there on the diamond for the Dodgers, and Valenzuela turns him back one more time, and he goes walking off with a big grin on his face.
The nights of May 13th and 14th were about as exciting as things can get at Dodger Stadium. On May 13th, the Dodgers watched the Expos explode for 5 runs in the top of the 9th to take a 6-4 lead. So, what did the Dodgers do? Why, score 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Steve Garvey's 2-run single tied the game.
2 out, runners at first and second, 1 and 2, the count to Steve Garvey. The game should have been over, but Spire kicked the ground ball that would have been the last out. Juggled it and had no play at second, and when he tried to throw it at first, Reggie beat it. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Garvey. Ryman checking, Lopes on a double steal, and it's a fly ball into right field. Wallach coming in a hurry, and the ball is off the glove of Rodney Scott. In comes 1 run, in comes Reggie, and it's all even.
Ron Say's 2-run homer won it, all with 2 out.
The Expos 1 in the 8th. The Dodgers came back with 3 in the 8th. The Expos 5 in the 9th. The Dodgers have come back with 2 in the 9th to tie it up. Unbelievable, even for the Dodgers. The 1-0 pitch to Say, outside, ball 2. Boy, that's some play. Having the runners go with 2 out. A hit-and-run play with Garvey. 2-0 pitch to Say is a high fly ball into deep left field. Back goes White, away back, it's Dodger ball game. Can you believe it? Can you possibly imagine as wacky a game as this one? Holy mackerel. There were 13 runs scored in the last 2 innings. And the Dodgers wind up because of an error by Chris Spire and then a pop fly that went off Rodney Scott's glove for an error. Wouldn't you just know that Ron Say would come up and bust one, and the Dodgers win it 8-6. So the game they had won was the game that they lost is the game that they finally win.
Fernando and the Dodgers were heading for extra innings the night of May the 14th when Pedro Guerrero rocketed a home run into the left field pavilion, leading off the 9th inning. Fernando, who allowed just 3 hits, had 2 himself in improving his record to 8-0.
1-1 to Guerrero. Ratzer comes back to his hitter, and there's a drive into deep left field. That goes wide. It's gone. Fernando, it's gone. There are no words to express what's going on here. The sound of a cheering crowd tells it all. The Fernando Valenzuela magic is alive and well, and so are the spirits of 55,000 at Dodger Stadium as Pedro Guerrero homers and the Dodgers win it 3-2. Valenzuela has now tied the Major League record of 8-0, and who's to say when it will end?
The Dodgers had so much fun winning in dramatic style the two previous nights, they decided to go to the well one more time against the Mets May 15th. After blowing a 4-1 lead, the Dodgers tied it on Guerrero's home run leading off the 8th.
Allen wears number 13. You don't see that very often anymore. But actually, he wore 13 all through high school. He was a quarterback and an outstanding baseball player, and he wore 13 for both sports. The pitch is high, ball 1-0. When Allen came to the Mets, he asked to wear 13, and they told him no. They said the number would bother you. It might be a jinx. They wouldn't let him wear it. The 1-0 pitch is high. But then last year, when he saved 22 games and became one of the premier relief pitchers in baseball, they said, well, okay, if you want to wear 13, you can. And he's wearing it. And there goes the ball into the bleachers.
Say won it with this bases loaded, one-out single in the ninth.
The infield is in double play depth. Jorgensen is up. Brooks is back of the bag. And Tavares and Flynn are back. And the pitch to Say is a drive over Mazzilli's head. Dodgers win it 6-5.
After the Dodgers had their 7-game winning streak and Fernando's 10-game Major League winning streak come to a grinding halt against the world champion Phillies May 18th, Rick Monday came to the rescue May 20th to avoid a Philadelphia sweep. Monday's pinch hit home run leading off the 10th off Tug McGraw gave the Dodgers a 3-2 win.
Here's McGraw's pitch. A drive to right field. Back goes Smith to the track, to the wall. Monday's hit out. The Dodgers win.
The Dodgers opened a trip by winning 3 out of 4 from the Reds, and Bert Hooton won his 7th consecutive game by beating the Braves in Atlanta. But the night of May 28th was to be a nightmare for Fernando at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The Braves knocked Fernando from the box with a 7-run 4th inning.
No balls and 1 strike to Gaylord Perry with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 4th, 1-0 in favor of Atlanta. And there's a line drive base hit into right center. 2 runs will score. Atlanta leads 3-0. Well, it's the old story in the big league. If you give a big league team a break, if you don't make a play that you should have made, it usually hurts you. And tonight is no exception. The Dodgers blew a ground ball that should have been a force play 100 times out of 100. But it went as an infield single, so that when Ramirez hit into a force play, it was only the 2nd out instead of the 3rd. And sure enough, there's another base hit. So 3 runs have scored, all because of that mix-up at second base. And it is 4-0 Atlanta. Fernando Valenzuela has run into another jammed him for 4 runs here in the 4th inning. And the batter now is Biff Pokerova, who is the 9th man to come up to the plate. Pokerova, left-hand hitter, sacrificed and grounded out. He's 0 for 1. And a 1-1 pitch. Pokerova is hit by the pitch to load him up. And here comes Tommy Lasorda, and that will be that, and this crowd loves it. Fernando Valenzuela is knocked out of the box here in Atlanta. And Fernando says adios and heads for the Dodger dugout.
Home for a Memorial Weekend series with the Reds, the Dodgers capped the series by exploding for 16 runs and 18 hits in a 16-4 win after trailing 4-0. Dusty Baker's 2-run single keyed a 7-run 3rd inning.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Line drive base hit. Left field. 1 run in. Here's Darrell headed home. Here's a throw to the plate. It's going to be a little bit late. The run is in. Mundy goes to third. They throw it away. Here's Mundy will score. Baker's at third base. He's turning third. Baker will score. And the Dodgers lead 5-4.
Rick Monday's 2-run homer highlighted a 6-run 7 that sent the Reds on their way.
All right, here comes the stopper, Joe Price, who's worked 15 innings in his last 10 games, not allowed a run. And he was the winning pitcher against the Giants this week up north. And Monday, it's a fly ball to deep left field. Foster away back. This ball is in the bullpen. Home run. So Rick Monday, who's been looking out the window all afternoon, he was 0 for 3. Everybody else had base hits. It's Joe Price, the left-hander's first pitch into the left field bullpen, and the Dodgers are now leading by a score of, 15-4.
Fernando started off June by avenging his loss to the Braves and becoming the first 9-game winner in the majors. He struck out 11. Rick Monday's first inning homer gave Fernando a lead to work with.
1-1 to count. Monday hits a high drive into center. Back goes Murphy, away back to the track, to the wall. It's gone. Boy, Rick Monday seems to be getting stronger the more he plays. His last home run, he hit back into the Dodger bullpen in left field, and he hit what looked like a marble over the center field fence. It was hit so high. His 5th home run. He has 8 runs batted in. The Dodgers lead 2-0, and Dusty Baker takes ball 1.
The Dodgers led by a half a game when the players' strike halted the season June the 12th. They would later be declared winners of the first half. The Dodgers opened the second half by winning a 3-game series from the Reds. Then they employed their comeback script to rally from a 4-0 deficit to capture a 6-5 decision from the Braves on August the 16th. Steve Garvey's 2-run double ignited a 3-run 7th inning.
Garvey has 6 home runs, 38 runs batted in. And the pitch to Garvey. Looped into left center field, base hit, might find the alley. Here's 1 run in. Here comes Landro around third. He's going to be waved home. He will score, and it's tied up. It's 40th RBI, and we're all even now here in the 7th.
And Ron Say's RBI single fueled the fire.
1 strike pitch on the way to Say. Ground ball hit up the middle, base hit. Here comes Garvey, and the Dodgers will take the lead for the first time today. It is 6-5, the Dodgers lead here in the 7th inning. Say grounded one up the middle. They had the infield split apart with Ramirez skating him to the left, and Say hit it right back to the middle. Garvey scores easily with no play, and here's Guerrero at bat, and the Dodgers are on top.
A tough loss on a controversial interference call against Pedro Guerrero in Chicago was quickly forgotten in St. Louis, where Jerry Royce fired a 4-hit shutout, and Fernando followed with another 4-hitter and 12 strikeouts. Back home, Fernando pitched a 4-hit shutout, his 6th and first of the second half. On August 27th, Fernando struck out 10 Cubs to become the first 11-game winner in the majors.
So we come down to 2 out and 2 strikes on Bobby Bonds in the 9th inning. Valenzuela on the third base side of the mound. Plants the foot into the windup and the 2-strike pitch. Got him swinging. The left-hander for Bechowakia. Zurdo, Fernando Valenzuela, comes up with his 6th shutout of the year, his 11th victory, the only man in the major leagues who can say that, as he turns back the Chicago Cubs by a score of 6-0.
On September the 5th, Dusty Baker proved he can hit as well when he's sick as others do when they're well. Despite a heavy cold, Dusty's pinch hit home run leading off the 11th inning of Jim Cott gave the Dodgers a 4-3 win over the Cardinals.
3-3 in the 11th. All right, here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball driven to left. This might go at the bullpen. Dodgers win.
Fernando put on another dazzling combination of pitching and hitting in a 5-0 win over the Cardinals September the 6th. The 4-hit shutout was his 7th and gave him his 12th win.
2-2 to Valenzuela with the bases loaded and nobody out. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball ripped to right field. It's a base hit. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. The ball rolls to the bullpen gate. 3 runs are in. Valenzuela going to third. 4-0 Dodgers on a triple by Fernando.
Ron Say's 2-run homer helped beat the Giants September the 8th. But the Dodgers would lose their Penguin for the remainder of the regular season and the National League Western Division Series on September 9th. Say suffered a fracture to his left forearm when struck by a pitch by the Giants' Tom Griffin. Ron back up, Griffin, right foot on the rubber. Now delivers, and a pitch inside, and it hits Say, and he's going to be awarded first base. But Say is acting like a man who's hurt. He slammed his helmet down and bat and walked away as if he was not only angry, but he knew he needed some help. And he's taking a walk right now and might have gotten it around the wrist. And Bill Bueller working on him right now. It would be the left wrist or forearm. And Say, from the looks of things, will be coming out. He had that action about him when he was hit, as if he was finished for the night. But there was always Fernando. He tied the Major League rookie record and set a National League record with his 8th shutout, a 2-0 3-hitter against Atlanta on September 17th. Chambliss waiting, and Fernando delivers. Screwball, swung on and missed. 0-1. Valenzuela last year for the Dodgers pitched only 18 innings. So he is still very much the rookie. The strike 1 pitch. Screwball lined at Garvey, and it's all over. Fernando with his 8th shutout of the year. Before a capacity crowd, he has done it again. Viva Fernando, and bring on the Astros. That was the rallying cry of the Dodgers and their 10th player as the regular season ended and the playoffs began. Houston's Astrodome, also known as the Great Indoors, was the site of Games 1 and 2 of the National League Western Division Series. And as far as the Dodgers were concerned, they were in pretty deep after 2 losses. Nolan Ryan allowed only a solo home run by Steve Garvey as the Astros won the opener 3-1. And Denny Walling's pinch single in the 11th inning gave the Astros Game 2 by a 1-0 count.
I'll tell you one thing, it's an emotional ball game. 1-1 to Walling. Here's the stretch, here's the look, and here's the pitch. Fly ball to right center field. Thomas on the run. Can't get it. The game is over.
One game away from elimination, the Dodgers called on a Texan, Bert Hooton, to beat the Texans. He did, 6-1. Dusty Baker's RBI double got the 10th player going.
All right, the left-hander ready to go to Baker. Lopes on second base, the pitch on the way to Dusty. A drive to left field, and it's hit deep. Going forward is Cruz. This ball is off the wall. Here comes Lopes to score. Here goes Baker to second. Dodgers lead 1-0. So the Dodgers, who were shut out in 11 innings in Houston and had just one run in 20 innings, start off with a burst here in the first inning. A walk, a sacrifice, a double. Garvey coming to bat, and the Dodgers trying to get a rally going in the very first inning as they're back.
And Steve Garvey's two-run homer whipped them into a frenzy.
So Garvey at bat. He was 2 for 8 in Houston with a home run against Ryan, a prodigious wallop over the center field fence 406 feet away. Baker on second, one out. Nepper up with the arms and the pitch on the way. Line drive to left field, way back. Going. Goodbye, she's gone. Steve Garvey belts one into the bleachers halfway up. And the Dodgers just like that lead 3-0, and the Dodgers trying to start off with a blast of a few skyrockets here. Baker hit the left field fence. Garvey hit the left field seats.
The Dodgers had cut Houston's lead in the best-of-5 series to 2-1, and Fernando was on deck. A turning point in Game 4 occurred in the top of the 5th when Fernando picked Cesar Cedeno off first, and Cedeno is injured sliding into second.
Cedeno not doing so far a very effective job of reading Valenzuela's move. The count to third baseman Art Howe, 2 balls and a strike with 1 out. Here's the stretch by Valenzuela. He's got him picked off. Throw to Garvey, down to Russell. They got him. Cedeno is on his stomach, not getting up at second base. First base coach Bobby Lillis and Houston trainer Don Kiger are the first men out there. Cedeno might have hurt himself diving into second. He went in head first to try to elude Russell's tag. Garvey made an accurate throw, and so Valenzuela picked Cedeno off just as he did Howe in Houston. And they are feeling the back of his right leg, and it might be that hamstring muscle that has bothered Cesar the last couple of weeks. But Fernando kept throwing over there, and finally he got Cedeno leaning.
Pedro Guerrero then snapped the scoreless duel between Fernando and Vern Rule with 2 out in the Dodgers' half of the 5th.
There's a drive by Guerrero, left field and deep, it's gone! The first Dodger base runner of the evening touches them all. Pedro Guerrero shoots one to the bleachers and left. The Dodgers lead 1-0, and the crowd on its feet, they want Guerrero to make an encore appearance, and here he comes.
Bill Russell, whose foot injury made him questionable for postseason play right up to the deadline for announcing the roster, delivered a key RBI single in the 7th.
The 0-1 pitch. Looked into right field. This one might fall. Base hit. Here comes Garvey. Here's the throw going to third base. It'll be in time there, but the run scored. Sosa's thrown out at third, but Garvey scores on a single to right by Russell. And the throw came to third base instead of home. And that surprised the Dodgers, but they got a big run nonetheless. As Russell drives one into right field to score Garvey. And Poole then saw he had no chance to get Garvey through to third, and he got Sosa going in, and the Dodgers pick up a big one in the 7th inning. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 left on, and the score going to the 8th inning, Dodgers 2 and the Astros nothing.
The Astros came up a run short in the 9th. and the Dodgers' team comeback were now even. The stage was set for a Jerry Royce, Nolan Ryan shootout as the sun set in the National League West pennant fight. The Dodgers managed just one scratch hit off Ryan in the first 5 innings of Game 5, but a one-out walk to Dusty Baker in the 6th opened the door for the rally that would clinch the Division Series title. Singles by Steve Garvey and Rick Monday produced the only run Royce needed.
2-2 again to Garvey. Ryan out of a stretch. Baker goes. The pitch. A ground ball headed to left field. Base hit. Baker going to third, and the Dodgers have runners at the corners and one out. Confetti falling out of the upper deck of Dodger Stadium. The Astros hold a conference at the mound. The crowd standing. The Dodgers with a chance to take the lead. Rick Monday walks to the plate for the Dodgers. Baker at third, Garvey at first. Steve just executed a hit and run perfectly, grounding a single to the right of the shortstop Thon to drive Baker to third. Monday has struck out and bunted and been thrown out by third baseman Howe. Ryan out of a stretch in the pitch. Popped up outside of third. I don't think there'll be a play. Over near the Dodger dugout comes Howe. He can't have room, and it's out of play. No score in the 6th. Ryan looking for the ground ball. The pitch to Monday. Popped up foul, out of play again. 0-2, and Monday clutches that bat, angry at himself. He thinks that was the pitch he was able to handle, but he couldn't get more than a piece of it. The count 1-2. Now the stretch, and a pitch to Monday. Line drive, base hit, right field. Baker scores. Dodgers lead 1-0. Garvey stops at second.
But the Dodgers weren't finished just yet. An RBI single by Mike Scioscia and an error made it 3-0.
Here's Ryan going to the stretch, and the first one to Scioscia. Breaking ball, line drive, base hit, center field. Garvey will score. Dodgers lead 2-0. Scioscia hit a bullet up the middle. It almost got Nolan Ryan on the shoulder. To the left of Dickie Thon and through to center field to drive Garvey home from second. Rick Monday stopped at second. The Dodgers have scored twice here in the 6th to lead the Astros 2-0.
Never let it be said, however, that the Dodgers do anything easy. Pinch hitter Dave Roberts struck out to end the game, but the celebration was delayed when the ball got past catcher Mike Scioscia to the screen. The burly Dodger catcher scrambled for the ball, whirled and fired a strike to a straining Steve Garvey just before Roberts' lunging foot hit the bag. Garvey was on his knees, but the nearly 56,000 fans were on their feet to set off an explosion heard throughout Southern California.
The Astros have gotten a runner to third only once all day. That was Cruz in the 2nd inning. There's a fly ball to left to Baker, and the Dodgers have 1 to go. Lasorda on his feet, helping guide that one into the glove of Baker for the 2nd out, and then doing a little cheerleading. Dave Roberts, the last obstacle, standing in front of Jerry Royce and the Dodgers. A year ago, the Dodgers couldn't win the game they had to win against the Astros in the playoffs. Now they're so close. A strike. Royce has struck out 3. He's walked 3. He's scattered 5 singles. He was in trouble in the middle innings. He's finishing like a thoroughbred. Strike 2. He had 3 days rest. You never know it, the way he's pitched. Foul. He
He's walking away. He didn't know he fouled it. Scioscia might have to throw to first base. To Garvey. Dodgers win the West. It's on Montreal.
One hill having been climbed, Team Comeback now looked for another peak to scale. Barring the path were the Montreal Expos. The Dodgers had every reason to be optimistic against the Expos in the League Championship Series. After all, the Dodgers had lots of experience in such games. The Expos had none. And the Dodgers had won 9 consecutive games and 18 of 19 from the Expos at Dodger Stadium. Nothing was done in Game 1 to dim that optimism. Ron Cey returned to the lineup to deliver an RBI double in his first at-bat, and Pedro Guerrero and Mike Scioscia socked home runs in the 5-1 Dodger win. The streak and a surprisingly effective Ray Burris caught up with the Dodgers in Game 2, a 3-0 Expos win over Fernando, no less. Having gained the split they sought in Los Angeles, the Expos went home to Olympic Stadium with renewed confidence, even though their home record against the Dodgers was hardly better than their road mark. That confidence was further enhanced in Game 3, as Steve Rogers went the distance in a 4-1 victory, putting the Expos within 1 win of their first ever pennant. But the Dodgers had their Mr. October, Bert Hooton, ready to go in Game 4, despite just 3 days' rest. Hooton, Bob Welch, and Steve Howe, the trio employed by manager Tom Lasorda in Game 1, stopped the Expos on 5 hits. The Dodgers banged out 12 in a 7-1 win. Steve Garvey's 2-run homer of Bill Gullickson snapped a 1-1 tie in the 8th. And Dusty Baker's 2-run single keyed a 4-run ninth that iced the win and evened the series at 2-2.
So Dusty is 2 out of 3 in this one. And now batting with the infield double play depth, and the Dodgers have already hit the 2 today. The pitch to Baker, and it's a strike called, 0-1. All right, Baker waiting, trying to get one he can drive. At least a scoring fly ball. A base hit, of course, would really help. All right, Baker waiting. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way. And it's a bouncing ball, hit up the middle, base hit. 1 run in. Here comes Thomas to score. The Dodgers lead 5-1. So Baker's 3rd hit of the game breaks it open. And the Dodgers are out in front as Yeager scores, Thomas scores, and Russell stops at second base. Here comes Fanning, and that will be all for Fryman.
Fernando and the Dodgers got a second crack at Ray Burris after a 1-day rain delay in Game 5. The Expos broke on top in the first inning, but Fernando took matters into his own hands in the 5th, driving in Rick Monday with the tying run. The scene of Monday crossing the plate was to be repeated with 2 out in the 9th inning. Steve Rogers, the winner in Game 3, replaced a tiring Burris in the 9th and retired the first 2 Dodgers. But Monday stepped to the plate and stroked perhaps the most dramatic of the many dramatic home runs he's hit in his celebrated career.
A 1-1 tie, a dandy ball game to settle the championship. These two clubs have put on a great series, win, lose, or draw. Here is the 3-1 pitch to Monday. And he hits a high fly ball to left center field. Backboard goes off on a layback. This ball has a chance. It is gone! Home run for Monday! Over the center field fence. And the Dodgers lead 2-1, and they're out of the dugout all over him. Monday hits one over the center field fence. And the Dodgers lead by a score of 2-1, and they're killing him as he comes off the field after circling the bases. Rick Monday on a 3-1 count hits a home run over the center field fence. Dawson kept going back, and it jumped over that fence, and the Dodgers are in front 2-1 in the 9th inning.
Afterwards, Rick Monday recounted his home run.
I had a pitch, the first pitch, fouled it straight back, and I was thinking to myself, especially against Steve Rogers, who is an exceptional pitcher, you're in trouble, Mo, because you're not going to see another ball to hit out of the ballpark, because he moves the ball around so well. And I was very surprised. It's 3-1, got a pitch that I could handle and hit the ball out of the ballpark. And it's one of those things, I know he's thrown it to me before, but you can get that pitch. Mo.
It was no cheapie, Mo. You hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark on a very damp and cold day. So it was a tremendous home run, not only with the impact, but the way you hit it.
Ross, you've been with this ball club long enough to know we don't worry about the odds. We don't worry about the weather. We try and play good baseball, and whether or not we win or lose, if we'd have been going back to L.A., it would have been with our heads very high.
Tom Lasorda.
I'm just so exhausted. What a win. I tell you, we beat a very, very tough and stubborn club, Ross. They just wouldn't quit. And I'll tell you, I want to thank God. And as I said before, we're dedicating this whole season to Peter and Annette O'Malley. They're the ones that we're so very, very proud of. And these players are just outstanding. And I want to thank all our fans for the support they gave us. What a year.
Tommy, a gritty performance by Fernando today under adverse situations.
Well, let me tell you something. If somebody said in July you were playing the 5th game of the playoffs to get to the World Series, who would you want pitching? You'd have to go with him. It's been Fernando all year. He's had a great year. Happy Hooten got us into this thing with some big games. Jerry Royce pitched great all year. And I don't want anybody to forget the performances of Happy Hooten and Jerry Royce.
Peter O'Malley.
We have a lot to be thankful for, honestly, and I'm very happy for the ball players, their wives, their families, everybody in the Dodger organization. It's an exciting time. Great feeling. We've worked hard for it.
Pedro Guerrero.
We came all the way over here and lost the first game. We was behind 2 games and come all the way from the back and win 2 in a row. That's great. I feel great. I feel happy. I can say that my dream came true because since my first year when I came up to the big league, I was dreaming about playing a World Series against the New York Yankees. So my dream came true.
Steve Yeager.
Hey, this is one happy clubhouse. We just can't party too much because we don't have a day off tomorrow. We got to go right to New York tonight and open up with the Yankees. Hopefully we can take 1 out of 2 there, hopefully 2 in a row, and come back to L.A. and win it for a change. You know, most of us have never been together for a long time. We've been in 3. We've always been bridesmaids. I like to be a bride just one time before my career's over.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Así es, pues lo primero que me pasó fue llegar aquí el primer año de Grandes Ligas, después llegamos con la estrella ahora a una serie mundial.
Yes, it is. You know, the first time that happened to me was to arrive to the major leagues. This is my first year, then to pitch in the All-Star game, and now in the World Series.
Especially against the New York Yankees.
Especialmente contra los Yankees.
Así es, pues contra un equipo bastante fuerte, pero como está el equipo de nosotros, yo pienso que con mucho entusiasmo vamos a seguir adelante.
Yes, against a very strong team like the Yankees, but the way that we have been playing, I think we're going to keep going ahead.
The Dodgers had little time to savor their 3rd National League pennant in 5 years. The KO2 was awaiting to whisk them to the Big Apple for a World Series rematch with the Yankees, who had beaten them in 1977 and 78. The Bronx Bombers jumped to a quick lead on Bob Watson's home run in the opener and held on behind Goose Gossage to take a 5-3 decision. Former Dodger Tommy John and Gossage silenced the Dodger bats on 4 hits in Game 2, and the Dodgers were in a familiar position, down 2-0 as they jetted home to Los Angeles for Game 3. When Ron Cey homered to give Fernando a 3-0 lead in the first inning, the outlook seemed much rosier.
Russell at first, Lopes at third, but they were there with nobody out. Now they're there with 2 down. The 2-2 pitch, Rigetti delivers, curveball, belted down the left field line, foul and out of play. It was a slow curve, and Cey jumped and pulled it too much. Rigetti eyeballing Rick Cerrone, and Cey asking for time. Terry Cooney grants it. Now Ronnie back up to the plate. Pedro Guerrero on deck. No score, bottom of the first inning, 2 out. Rigetti at the belt, checking the runners, delivers to Cey. Fastball, a high drive into left field. Back goes Winfield, way back. It's gone. It's amazing the sequence of pitches. He came with a very good breaking ball that was swung on and missed. Then he came with a good low, hard fastball that was fouled off. Then the slow curve, which was pulled too much. And then the high fastball that was hit downtown.
But the Yankees played long ball with Fernando in the 2nd and 3rd innings to take a 4-3 lead. The Dodgers regained the lead in the 5th on Pedro Guerrero's RBI double.
Guerrero 0 for 1 tonight, 0 for 8 in the series. Pedro, another look at Ozark to see if they might put the bunt on. Watson and Rodriguez are up. Garvey at second, Cey at first, nobody out. 5th inning, 4-3 Yankees. And the pitch to Guerrero, big chopper over the head of Rodriguez and down the line. Garvey will score. Cey to third, to throw to second, not in time.
And Cey scored the go-ahead run when Steve Yeager grounded into a double play. Penguins aren't noted for flying, but that's exactly what Say did on Bobby Mercer's bunt in the 8th inning, perhaps the turning point in the series. Say made a diving catch, doubled Larry Milbourne off first to nip a Yankee rally in the bud. Fernando then finished off the Yankees in order.
Now the 2-0 pitch to Piniella. Fastball for a strike. The majority of the 56,000 are up on their feet. Fernando looks down the barrel, has the sign, and the 2-1 pitch to Piniella. Screwball, check swing foul into the crowd behind the Yankee dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 9th inning. Dodgers 5, Yankees 4, and now everybody up. The entire ballpark. 56,000 people on their feet and cheering. And Fernando trying to rub a wrinkle in the new baseball, standing behind the rubber. 2-2 to Piniella. Fernando ready, delivers. Fastball, got him swinging. It was a bad ball, almost in the dirt, but Piniella on a 2-2 count went after it, and somehow this was not the best Fernando game, it was his finest.
While not the most well-played game in World Series history, Game 4 will be remembered as one of the most exciting. The Dodgers rallied from deficits of 4-0 and 6-3 to win 8-7 and deadlock the series at 2 games each. Jay Johnstone's pinch 2-run homer in the 6th was a key blow. 1-2 to Jay Johnstone. They're not holding the bag on Socia. He's not going anywhere. And the 1-2 pitch to Jay. Swung on a high drive into deep right center field. Back goes Brown. It's gone. Johnstone, who had 3 pinch hit home runs during the regular season, almost hit a home run in New York, did have a single, and hits a 2-run shot over the right center field wall, and it brings the Dodgers back to life. They looked dead until that happened. Now it's Yankees 6, Dodgers 5, and the crowd wants Johnstone to come out and take a bow. Here he comes. Manager Tom Lasorda had started Bob Welch, so he'd have his aces Jerry Royce, Bert Hooton, and Fernando for the last 3 games if necessary. Well, a stronger Royce shackled the Yankees on 5 hits in Game 5, and Pedro Guerrero and Steve Yeager bottled some of Ron Guidry's Louisiana Lightning for back-to-back homers in the 7th inning to give the Dodgers a 2-1 victory. And the strike 1 pitch to Pedro Guerrero. Breaking ball, a high fly ball to left. Back goes Piniella. It's gone! Guerrero hits a home run into the left field bleachers. It is a 1-1 tie. Guerrero getting a bear hug from Tommy Lasorda, and this crowd wants Guerrero to come out on the field. And they are cheering for Guerrero. They are pleading for Guerrero, and here he comes. No, he stops. And the pitch to Yeager will be a strike. Guerrero was just starting to come up the steps when he saw Guidry was pitching, and Pedro went back down into the dugout. Boy, it's something. A great effort suddenly explodes on 1 pitch.
0-1, the count to Yeager, who has doubled and popped up. Guidry ready. The strike one pitch in the dirt. Down in the Yankee bullpen, they begin to move around. Guidry squinting into Cerrone. Now the 1-2 pitch to Yeager. Swung on, another high drive. Back goes Piniella, way back. It's gone. They want Yeager to come out and take a bow, and Darrell Thomas won't get in the batter's box, I don't believe, until Yeager comes out. There he is. Well, they call him Louisiana Lightning, and Guidry's been hit by it.
The joy of a 3-2 lead in games was dimmed, however, when a Goose Gossage fastball got away and hit Ron Cey on the helmet with 2 out in the 8th. Silencing the crowd of 56,000. But Penguins obviously have hard heads, for Cey was in the lineup for Game 6. Not only was he in the lineup, but Cey collected 2 hits, drove in 2 runs, while Pedro Guerrero had a single, triple, and homer and drove in 5 runs, as the Dodgers avenged the disappointment of 77 and 78 by winning 9-2 to take the series in 6 games. It seemed only fitting that Bob Watson, the Dodger killer in Game 1, should fly out for the final out of the series.
Watson 0 for 4, Howe out of a stretch, a check of the runners, and the 1-0 pitch. Watson, it's a high fly ball to Landreau. This is it. Landreau waiting and waiting. He's got it. The Los Angeles Dodgers have just about done the impossible. Lasorda throws his hat away, runs out with his hands and arms held high in the air to grab Steve Garvey. And the Dodgers, who were down 2 games to none and beat Houston. They were down 1 game to 2 and beat Montreal. They were down 2 games to none to the Yankees and beat them 4 straight.
Guerrero, Cey, and Yeager was selected tri-MVPs of the series and told the nation what it felt like to win the World Series. First, Guerrero.
We all know that if we win tonight, it was going to be all over, so I gotta give my everything. I mean, everything I have, I'm gonna try to give it tonight. And I'm just glad that we win. And I wanna say hello to all the people in LA. And I really was waiting for this.
Then Cey.
Team wouldn't quit, wouldn't roll over. Everybody counted us out of just about every series that we were in, simply because we got behind early. Just a tremendous effort once again. The character of the club came through with shining colors.
And finally, Yeager.
That's terrific. That's been a long time. And we've been in 3 of them, and finally we won the 4th one, and it's great. We've been counting out so many times all year long, and now to come back and win a big game, that's terrific. That shows you what pride we have.
It also was a dream come true for Tom Lasorda.
I've never seen a club with heart like this. This club never quit. They had their backs to the wall, but they never quit. They came back. Everybody gave us up when we were 2 down against Houston. We had to win 3. We did it. We were down 2-1 in Montreal. We beat them 2. We came out of here down 2, and they said the Yankees couldn't be beat. They were talking about we couldn't beat them, and we bounced back. I'll tell you something. Don't try to put the blame on the Yankees. Give the Dodgers credit. They played an outstanding series. Our players played very, very well. They played hard. They wanted to win this fall classic more than anything in their lives.
Yes, finally Team Comeback had no more mountains to climb. They had reached the pinnacle, joined by their 10th player, their fans. The Dodgers could at last reap the harvest of what Tom Lasorda so often refers to as the fruits of victory. After 16 years of nurturing, the fruit was now ripe and ready for the feast. And the man-child named Fernando was the first to be honored with a toast. It was Fernando who provided the greatest moments of this great season. Who will ever forget the 8 shutouts and what seemed like 800 so very well-deserved standing ovations for El Toro? Another living memory for all Dodger fans will be the character displayed by the 1981 edition, Team Comeback. there was the pitching of the big three, Fernando, Hooten, and Royce, which enabled the Dodgers to overcome Houston in the division series. Hooten and Fernando were there again when they were needed in games 4 and 5 of the League Championship Series, along with Iron Man Steve Garvey and Old Man River Rick Monday. Dodger fans are still marveling at his home run. And what about the World Series? Say, Guerrero, Yeager, and the big three were accorded the loudest applause. But it was truly a team effort. Team comeback, of course. And where, oh where, would Team Comeback have been without its 10th player? You, the fans. Give yourselves a standing ovation.